striving for good is going to be good for you in a lot of ways. One, it's going to give you a better personal psychology because, if you're not having to remember a bunch of lies and the tangled webs that you're weaving, you can just live in the moment. You don't have to always remember what you told somebody. You can just always be honest and always be good, and that's very, very stress relieving. A lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about the past or thinking about the future or what they're going to do for supper or do in a week from now or do in a year from now or do on their next vacation or what happened to them in the past with other people. That's all part of normal conscious experience. Those who seem to appreciate the now and live in the now, it's been my experience, are living a better quality of life. And quality of life is where it comes down to when you're talking about a good philosophy. And part of a good philosophy is being virtuous. When a person is honest, they're noble. And most people who conceive of those kinds of things look at those people as more noble because they are more honest. It's better to approach and converse with someone who's honest than it is, someone who's just going to tell you what you want to hear or lie and manipulate you in a bunch of different ways. People are going to like you better if you're more honest. You're going to like yourself better if you're honest. There are people who habitually lie, and it could be about over the smallest things, little stories that make your life sound more interesting or something to that effect. Some people just crave the attention. They learn on their own when they're young that if they continually lie, they're getting all kinds of attention, and they never come to realize that it's a false attention, that really it's only their lies that are reeling people in. And once people realize that their words mean nothing, their entire experience is snuffed out, it's just not any good anymore. Now, everybody's experience is like a pebble dropped in the water with the ripples that come off of it. If you're good and you're virtuous and good and honest, these ripples go into the people around you and hopefully influence those people to make good waves throughout the entire social consciousness.
I don't know what to say, but I found out yesterday evidently cozmikzen has passed away. And furthermore, it seems like, he didn't have health care. Welcome to America, and it maybe could have been preventable had it been discovered earlier. And I've had friends die this way where it's American medical care seemed to be the problem. But even if that's not the case, I just, I had a big cry about it. He's one of the most earnest people, one of the few people, like I was talking about Decky, one of the few people that seems to have one of the minority that makes this worthwhile. People willing to learn from these conversations, people that don't get bitter, and don't just enjoy trash in other people. And that's okay. The whole ponage Olympic world, but I respect someone like cozmikzen that had a more positive attitude about what could be done, and that if this media isn't accomplishing it, that's part of the problem, something we could address. And I really like cozmikzen. And I felt a little bit like, why does nature take the good? Dick Cheney's still stomping around, heartless bastard. Probably lived to 120 or something. And so anyway, yeah, I think he was a really good person, really well-intentioned, really earnest, really straightforward. And you're trying to shake something out of this medium, having projects, having proactive things, not just cutting things down, but trying to build things against all odds, and then you die. Anyway, I'll miss him. He hadn't made a video for about a year. I think I'll put a clip in from his last video. It shows what kind of a guy he was. So any of you that knew cozmikzen or his later channel, atheist, say your goodbyes.
Hello everybody. What I want to talk about in this video is the virtue of being good. Why is being good better than being bad? I think that in our culture, the American culture, it's hard for me to speak about other cultures so much, but I think in American culture, since say the 50s or 60s, when people started to be a little more rebellious and wearing leather jackets, and then in the 60s there was hippies and anti-war protesters, and after that it just kind of became cool to be bad. I know that's a slang term and language evolves, and a lot of times some of our words have the opposite meaning of what their intent was. And I'm not trying to talk about what it is to be cool or what it is to be bad. I'm talking about genuine virtue and why it's good in living a good life. Now, if you're bad, you might hurt people, you might hurt yourself, you might spread bad information, that is continually lying, even if you think things are true, whether you're intentionally a compulsive liar or just learned little and are spreading a bunch of misinformation based on your own ill-informed opinions and prejudices. There's really not much you can say that's good about being bad. Now, one might make the argument that being bad, as in say being a bank robber, might be good for you because you're getting a bunch of money, and definitely having a bunch of money is going to add to the quality of your life. However, in doing so, you're harming others, even if that bank is backed up by FDIC and those people aren't actually going to lose any money. In the act itself of the bank robbery, people can be threatened or killed, including yourself or the police or innocent victims. But that's just an example. You could go through any act of evil or aggression with the same kind of fine-tooth comb, and you will find that living the good life is better. Now, why live the good life? Why not just be an evil bastard and screw everybody over for the benefit of yourself? Well, because you're distrustful, you're going to eventually find yourself in a position where nobody trusts you. And we are social creatures. We crave social interaction. Now, me myself, I'm nearly a hermit. Okay, I don't know anybody that's more of a hermit than me, except I guess actual hermits wouldn't have association with anybody, so nobody knows them. But for a social media person as myself in my real life, I'm very close to being a hermit. Do I crave a bunch of social interaction? Sometimes, not a lot, but when I do, I want my word to be taken seriously. I want people to believe what I'm saying, and I want to take myself seriously and believe that the information I'm putting out there is correct. And a big part of intellectual honesty is being able to say I don't know when you don't know, or that nobody knows when nobody knows, because there's a lot of answers that nobody knows. Striving for good is going to be good for you in a lot of ways. One, it's going to give you a better personal psychology, because if you're not having to remember a bunch of lies and the tangled webs that you're weaving, you can just live in the moment. You don't have to always remember what you told somebody. You can just always be honest and always be good, and that's very, very stress relieving. A lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about the past or thinking about the future or what they're going to do for supper or do in a week from now or do in a year from now or do on their next vacation or what happened to them in the past with other people. I mean, that's all part of normal conscious experience. Those who seem to appreciate the now and live in the now, it's been my experience, are living a better quality of life. And quality of life is where it comes down to when you're talking about a good philosophy. And part of a good philosophy is being virtuous. When a person is honest, they're noble. And most people who conceive of those kinds of things look at those people as more noble because they are more honest. It's better to approach and converse with someone who's honest than it is, someone who's just going to tell you what you want to hear or lie and manipulate you in a bunch of different ways. People are going to like you better if you're more honest. You're going to like yourself better if you're honest. There are people who habitually lie, and it could be about over the smallest things, little stories that make your life sound more interesting or something to that effect. Some people just crave the attention. They learn on their own when they're young that if they continually lie, they're getting all kinds of attention, and they never come to realize that it's a false attention, that really it's only their lies that are reeling people in. And once people realize that their words mean nothing, their entire experience is snuffed out, it's just not any good anymore. Now, everybody's experience is like a pebble dropped in the water with the ripples that come off of it. If you're good and you're virtuous and good and honest, these ripples go into the people around you and hopefully influence those people to make good waves throughout the entire social consciousness. Different studies have shown that there's like 6 degrees of separation between everybody on the planet. So, in order to move humanity forward to a greater, better potential, in order for people to help each other and just be better in all ways towards a utopia or heaven on earth, which this is our experience, this is our life, to have the best quality of life, it seems you would want to have heaven around you all the time. You've got to be honest and be the example so that other people will find the value in that honesty. Now, I came from, being a horrendous person in the past, and have developed myself over many years and have come to appreciate the value of honesty, especially in correlation to knowledge. As you learn more knowledge, intellectuals tend to become more skeptical. Being skeptical in itself is a virtue, because there's no reason to believe anything without any reason to believe those things, and this is where reason and logic and rationality come into being. Not just believing something because you were raised to believe it or because somebody told you, but to take it upon yourself to research and explore. And if you're going to take the time to research and explore knowledge, then you want good, honest knowledge from good, honest people who value honesty and virtue and are pushing this knowledge forward. And don't you want to be one of those people? Don't you want your legacy on earth to be that you were good and helped people and pushed humanity forward? Even if the society around you is just your significant other and your children, don't you want your children to go on and spread goodness throughout the world for generation after generation? So the virtue of being honest and good outweighs, lies and deception by generations, thousands of years and millions of people. Pretty much everything that comes out of your mouth to another person is causing ripples in the world. You can either be positive waves or negative waves. And if we're going to make the world a better place, then we need more positive waves. And when I say positive, I don't necessarily mean just happy. I mean correct. It's very important to be correct more than happy. Sometimes the truth is not a happy subject. And you have to ask yourself what's more important, to be correct and have correct knowledge and be in line with reality, or just believe something because it makes you happy. The liars believe all kinds of things that make them happy. They're happy when people believe their lies. Well, how much more so is it when people believe you because you're honest and truthful and knowledgeable? You can be that person. You just need to notice the virtue of being good, and I think our society puts so much emphasis on being bad, like video games of killing people and video games of, stealing and tearing down stuff. I mean, those are games, that's fine, whatever, but you got to be able to separate yourself, from the game and the real world and be a good person. Do it for yourself. Do it for your people around you. Do it for the ones you love. People will love you more if you are honest. Many people lie about their station in life, their status in life, their possessions in life to try to impress other people. It's much more impressive to be honest, Take money, for example. Many men will pose as if they have better money or more power to try to impress the female, but eventually, that person is going to find out you're lying, or you have to go to a lot of trouble and stress to maintain that lie until eventually they still find out. Or you can just be honest about things, and then you've got nothing to worry about. If they don't like you for being honest, then they're not the one for you anyway. I am starting to find, as I'm getting older, that positive people tend to attract positive people, and negative people seem to attract negative people. Now, when we're younger and can't really differentiate the difference, like being teenagers or in the 20s or maybe even the 30s, you see problems with people in relationships, with their spouses or friends or whatever, because of these differences and not really being able to recognize what's positive and what's negative. And most of the time, a person will maintain a positivity or negativity about them. Now, people are capable of change. I certainly have experienced a lot of change in my life, and I believe that each step of positive change is a step down the path of enlightenment. And there's no doubt, looking through all cultures on earth, that valuing honesty and living the good life and appreciating virtue is usually the goal. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that being honesty, not only being a virtue in itself, but it reaps its own reward. And the reward might not be admiration or respect, because being honest doesn't necessarily mean, giving good news to everybody, but you reap the benefit yourself. And those who appreciate the benefits that are reaped from being honest and being good, they reap those benefits as well. And as long as people are reaping the benefits of virtuousness and goodness, it's going to make the world a better place, one person at a time, maybe several people at a time. It will be like a wave through the social consciousness that we need to extract this bad behavior on an individual level and focus on yourself. I think it was Gandhi that said, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, the easiest step to becoming a better person, a more quality person, and reaching your potential and having the life worth living is being good and being honest. And you don't have to worry about the authorities coming to get you, or being involved with bad people doing bad things and making bad decisions. Now, sometimes good people are put in bad situations where, morals are like waves, but as long as you strive to be good and strive to be virtuous, you're going to experience a lot less stress, a lot less negativity. People are going to admire you more, and you're going to focus on being around other people who are honest. And when you find people who aren't so honest, maybe try to influence them and show them the virtuousness of being good. And this kind of virtue of being good, money can't buy that. It takes a personal inner fortitude, a way to, once your innocence is lost, to maintain that glow, the thing that makes us attracted to youth and innocence, to be knowledgeable but yet virtuous. Virtue is like the sword that cuts through the darkness of the ignorance and the evil. You can find yourself the shining knight of goodness and feel good about that. And if you're in the right, even if you're in a minority or hold an unpopular opinion, you can rest assured that you're doing the best that you can and being as honest as you can, and that's one of the ways to feel good about yourself. And you have to feel good about yourself, otherwise you're throwing your life away. If you're going to be down about yourself all the time, everybody's got different health problems, different money problems, whatever else. But as long as you're a good, honest person, at least you can trust yourself in that manner, and other people will learn to trust you as well. And you'll get along better with yourself inside your own head, inside the social consciousness and the people around you, in ways that can't even be fathomed, by those who are not good, and those who are not virtuous, and those who don't seek or strive for good. And that might be hard to understand because, I came from a bad place. I used to be a very bad person. I mean, I was a bad person in like any way you can imagine. And it took me a lot, step by step by step, getting past, lying and, stealing or whatever else, whatever bad thing. I mean, I never killed anybody, not directly. I can honestly 100% say that I'm a lot happier with myself now than maybe I was when I was 20 and didn't even think about those kinds of things very much, or my ideas of those kinds of things were very limited. I mean, I'm sure I did think about virtue and vice and good and bad and evil and all that stuff when I was in my 20s. But when you're young, your conceptions aren't the same as when you're older. I mean, I guess that's where wisdom comes in. And that's what I'm trying to pass on to you, is a little bit of wisdom of why the virtue of being good will benefit you and those around you. Peace.